Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to replace a natural key with a surrogate key, also known as an auto number. Before we get started, you should have a general understanding of the difference between a natural key and a surrogate key. A natural key is based on some number you find in real life, like a phone number, social security number, a product code, like your vendor gives you a product and it's got a number on it, right? A lot number, like real estate lot numbers, that kind of stuff. Those are all numbers that you can find elsewhere in the real world. A surrogate key is something completely generated by the database. It could be an auto number, whether incremental or random. It could be a globally unique identifier. Any kind of auto number that's generated by the system is a surrogate key. In Access databases, especially for beginners, we stick with auto numbers. Now, if you asked 100 database professionals which is better, which they should use, you're going to get probably about a 50% on either side. I personally happen to be in the surrogate key camp. I like to use auto numbers. Been working with Access since 1994, and I pretty much stick with those. Even if I come across a situation where I'm presented with a natural key, like a phone number or a social security number, I will still assign an auto number and keep that natural key in the table because you don't want to lose that data, right? But I'm going to have an auto number for the relationships in between the tables and for tracking uniqueness. Now, I got a whole separate video on whether or not auto numbers are good or bad. There's the link right there. I'll put it down below. You can click on it if you want to get more information on that topic and my reasons why I like auto numbers. I cover that stuff in a lot more detail. Here's all the topics we cover. Talk about lots of different stuff. Go watch this video if you're curious about that. Today's video is not going to debate that topic. Today, we're going to assume that you're on my side of the debate and you agree that you should have an auto number as your primary key and not something like a social security number. So I'm going to show you how to take a database that's got a natural key like that and replace it with an auto number. Okay, as the primary key. We're still going to keep social security number. You don't want to lose that, but we're going to add an auto number and then replace all the foreign keys. So today's question actually came, I found this, it was this morning in my Facebook group. I don't like Facebook. I got a whole separate video on why I hate Facebook, but I still do have a Facebook group. It's been there for years. Lots of people in it, including students of mine. And so I check it once a week or so. I prefer to have the discussion on my website. But if you're a Facebook user, go ahead. You can post in that group. But Stacey from Enfield, Connecticut, one of my silver members, says, I'm planning to replace my primary key with a major table in my database that's in production with an auto number as recommended in the Access Expert classes. Yes. I'll have a lot of relationships to update after the fact. That's the problem, is updating the relationships. Any advice or tips would be appreciated. I use a number generated by another system, but I have to manually enter it. The table is related to a handful of others. In other words, you get a number given to you by someone else that you have to use. So we're going to keep that number. We're not going to get rid of that number, but we're not going to use that number for relationships between the tables. And following that one, Marko from Valrico, Florida, if I'm pronouncing that right, one of my platinum members, he responded, said, I'm pondering the same question. I've got a main table with a manual primary key, natural key, that drives all my other tables. The primary key is a lot ID. It's a permanent ID assigned to a piece of property and can never change. And I thought I was safe with it. However, if I take on more clients, there may be issues with the lot ID as a primary key. The key is set up as an address, right? 2575 Smith Lane would get 2575 SL. I see this a lot. I had a customer a few years ago that had a customer ID that was generated. It was like the first 2 characters of their first name, the last 3 characters of their last name, and like an address or something in there. I forget exactly. It's been a couple years ago. It was more like 15 years ago. But he started running into duplicates. So he had to put like a 2 or a B or something on the end of them, and it was causing major problems. So that's one of the major reasons why I prefer surrogate keys, auto numbers. Also because sometimes you think you got a number that can never change. It can change. I knew not one of my customers, but I had an associate of mine, one of my consultant buddies. He actually had someone who had their social security number changed. I don't know. I don't remember the whole details, whether it was witness protection or I don't know, whatever. But they changed it, and so it caused havoc in his client's database. So yeah, don't use natural keys as something to make relationships with. All right. So let's get to it. So this is an expert class. All right. Expert to me means you're beyond the basics, but you're not quite developer. You don't need any programming for today's class. This is all just relationship stuff. So if you have not yet watched my relationships video, go watch this. Very important. And also, we're going to use an update query to update all of those foreign keys. So if you've never made an update query before, go watch this first. These are both free videos. They're on my website. Go watch them and then come on back. Before we get started, make sure you back up your data. Very important. All right, so here I am in a blank access database. We're not using the Tech Help database because the Tech Help database is set up correctly. We're going to set up a database incorrectly to begin with. So let's create a table. Let's create a customer table and an order table. All right, we're going to set up the customer table with a bad primary key. All right, so table design. We're going to make the primary key the social security number, SSN, that has to be short text. All right, and then we got first name and last name and whatever other stuff you want to have for your customer. We're going to make, now, if you save it at this point, Access is going to ask you to make an auto number, make a primary key. We don't want to do that. We're going to just set that as the primary key using the primary key button. All right. That will set it as index no duplicates. And now we can save the table as our customer T. Okay, let's put some data in. All right, 111223333. Rick James. I don't know why Rick James. I just decided. Jim Kirk. Miles O'Brien. And one more. We'll do Joe Smith. All right, so we got 4 customers, and this is set up with the SSN as their primary key. All right, now we're going to set up an order table. Okay, so I'm going to just slide this guy like that so we can still see it. Let's create another table. Create, table design. All right, now let's say at least you were smart enough to make an order ID in this table and make this one an auto number. If not, if you've got natural keys throughout your entire database, that's okay. You're just going to have to repeat this step multiple times. Okay, if you've got an order number that is also somehow a primary key, like I had a client once that was doing it on paper, and he literally was still working off those old pre-printed guest checks, right? And you get the pads of paper with pre-printed numbers on them. He was using those. Okay, fine. If you're living in 1970, that's okay. That was hard. I've had to drag some people into the 21st century, kicking and screaming. All right, so we'll assume. And by the way, it's easier to start from the bottom most tables and work backwards. So let's say you've got customer, you've got orders, you've got order details, you've got products. Okay, start with the bottom table in that chain and replace the product code with a product ID, and then work your way back up. All right, I'm going to show you one relationship. If you might have 15, 20, 30 relationships. You'll have to do this multiple times. The good news is you should only have to do this once. Once the database is set up properly, that's it. So this hopefully will be a once in a lifetime thing for you, unless you're a consultant like I used to be, in which case I did it about 20 times. I was a database consultant right in that sweet spot from the 1990s until about 2010, when a lot of companies are still working on old DOS-based systems, even paper systems, and they were computerizing. So a lot of you young guys now, you're probably working with people who have been computerized, just maybe not the right way. Anyhow, can you tell I'm in the mood to talk today? I've had too much coffee. All right, so we got the order ID. Now, how are we relating? How are we going to tell what the customer is that placed this order? Well, normally we'd use a customer ID, but we don't have one. So we have to have the SSN here. Okay, and that's also going to be short text. Okay, then whatever other order information you want, the order date, the amount, whatever. We're just going to put a couple fields in here. Save this as my order table. All right, no primary key defined. We put an auto number in for this one, so we're good for that at least. All right, let's put some sample data in here. All right, let's say that Jim Kirk placed a couple orders. Now, generally, like over in your order form, you're going to have a combo box, right, where you can pick the customer by seeing their name. That combo box is going to be bound to their social security number instead of an ID. So what's going to get stored in your order table? The customer social security number. So let's say he placed 3 orders. Okay, then maybe Joe Smith placed a couple orders. Right, then Jim Kirk placed another order. Then Rick James came in and placed 4 orders. And so on, right? Miles O'Brien placed an order. So that's the data as it looks like in your order table. And put some order amounts in here. It doesn't matter. Whoops. All right, these numbers are whatever. This is all the other order data. You get it, right? That's what we have to replace in here with a customer ID that we don't have yet. Because you don't want this SSN flying around all your tables. You want it once in the customer table where it belongs. All right, so let's close the order table for now. Let's go back into our customer table. What we're going to do now is we're going to say, okay, this is no longer the primary key, and we're going to add an auto number to it. So come in here, leave the social security number alone, don't touch it. We're going to add a customer ID, auto number, okay? Now, we're going to turn this off as being the primary key. All right. You can still leave it indexed. In fact, it's going to say index no now. If you're going to be doing searches and sorts on this, that's fine. You could even make it indexed no duplicates if you want to make sure you don't put the same customer social security number in here twice. That's okay. The system will still yell at you and say you got a key violation. You just don't want this to be the primary key. You want this to now be the primary key. And I like to slide this up top. I like to have my primary keys at the top of the table. That's just a design choice. That's just a style thing for me. All right, but we can still leave SSN as a indexed yes, duplicate or no duplicates. Right? Okay. Remember, indexing is for speeding up your searches and sorts. That's what indexing is for, and to prevent duplicate values. All right, so save that. Now go and take a look at what you got. Access automatically applies all those customer IDs for you. All right, looks good. Now, the trick is going to be to get that ID that's related to each of those customers into the order ID. All right, so the first thing we need, well, the next thing we need to do, close this, sure. The next thing we need to do is to add that field to our order table. So we need to put the customer ID in here. Now, it's not an auto number here, right? It's a number of type long integer. It's our foreign key. All right, and I'm going to slide this up top because I like to keep all my key values up at the top of the table. Okay, leave this here for now. We still need it. We're going to have to use that to make our relationship. All right, save it. Take a peek at what you got. You got a blank customer ID field. Okay, so now if I take a look at orders and customers side by side, come here. Side by side, you can see there's the social security number. There's social security number over here. You want to find the ones over here that match up with the ones over there. So let's bring them together in a query. All right, close these. So create, query design. I like to bring in the order table first and then the customer table. That's just, I like to go backwards when you're doing this kind of thing because really the data you're changing is here and the related information is over here. Now, it made a relationship between customer IDs because that's how it's supposed to be set up, but it's not currently how it's set up. So we're going to delete that ad hoc relationship. All right, ad hoc relationship on the fly. We didn't define any global system relationships, which, by the way, if you do have global relationships defined, you're going to want to delete them first before doing this stuff. Okay, make your job a lot easier. Now we're going to make our own ad hoc relationship between social security numbers like that. That way the social security number over here is joined to the social security number over here like it should be. All right, well, not like it should be, like it is in the database. We're going to change it. It's not how it should be. You get what I'm saying, right? Now, let's just see what the data looks like. Let's bring down both stars. I don't usually recommend you bring down both stars. It can cause problems in real databases. I'll only bring down one star and then the related fields. But just for this example, it's okay just to see what's going on. Let's take a peek. All right. So here's all the order stuff. And here's all the customer stuff that's related to it. Notice that the social security number is related to the social security number over here. All the records match up. Looks good, right? The trick now is to get this field over into this field. We want to take the customer T dot customer ID and put that value over here in the order T dot customer ID. See that? That's the customer ID from the order table. That's the customer ID, the auto number that we created in the customer table. Now, if you only had 11 records, you literally could just type these in or copy and paste them. But let's pretend we have 11 million records, okay? You don't want to do these by hand. So we're going to use what? What are we going to use? That's right, an update query. Okay, so we're going to update this field and set it to be equal to whatever is in this field. So let's go back to design view. All right, we don't need this guy anymore. Here. All right, get rid of this stuff. I do that just to take a look at it first before making it into an update query, because then I can make sure everything's lined up correctly. Okay, change the query to an update query. What are we going to update? What field are we updating? We're updating the customer ID over here. So bring that guy down. That's the field we're updating. What do we want to update it to? We want to update it to this guy. So we're going to come down here. Let me make this bigger. And right here in the update to, I'll zoom in so you can see it, Shift F2. All right, we're going to update it to customer T dot customer ID. In fact, let me do this again, because if you do it, let me cancel this. If you do it, if you type it in right here, you'll get the IntelliSense, which is sometimes very helpful. Customer T, see that? Dot, there it is, customer ID. That's what you want. Okay. Now, oh, by the way, before you do any of this, it goes without saying, right? I should have put this at the top of the video. In fact, I'm going to go back now retroactively and put this at the top of the video. I know that Stacey mentioned it in her thing. She's going to back up first. Back up your data before messing with your table structure. Make sure you should be running a nightly backup anyways, right? Make sure you back up your table before doing this stuff. Okay, they're done. Magic of editing. LOL. Yes, I just said LOL out loud. Okay, now we're ready to run this query. Ready? Run it. Nothing appears to happen. I have warnings turned off. You may see a warning message. If not, we should be done with this query. I'm going to save it just in case I need to do this again in the future for whatever reason. Save this as my update customer queue. Okay, and now let's take a look at our tables side by side. Here's my customer table, and here's my order table. And ooh, look at that. Look at it, right? Social security number there, customer 2, is that correct? Yep. Just spot check. Spot check a half a dozen of them, right? Okay, those look good. Yep, 4, another 2. Those are my 1s, and there. See now, I've replaced needing that field with that field now that I can relate back to this field. That's what our goal was. So now you can get rid of social security number from the order table. You don't need it anymore, because you can look it up by going back to the customer table. So you can come in here, delete the SSN out of the order table. Are you sure? Y'all, goodbye. All right, save it, close it. And now if you create another query, right, bring in customers and orders, it makes that relationship. And now you'll see that you can get the customer information and the order information. And there they are. See? Right? There you go. There's your order ID, the customer for each order, and his social security number if you need it. You can use a relationship, or you can delookup it if you have to. All right, we won't save that. Now, you will still have to go through and fix any other forms that you have, because you might have forms that have combo boxes based on that SSN that you can change now to a customer ID. But at least at this point now, your tables are good. You've got a proper relationship between the customer table and the order table based on customer ID, which is what you wanted to have. Do this for every set of relationships in your table. Update your queries, forms, and reports. And depending on the complexity of your database, this can take a few days to do. Just double check, back up every step, and test it repeatedly throughout, and you should be okay. I've had jobs where this took me an hour to do, and I've had jobs where this took me weeks to do with really complicated databases. And yes, the client gets billed for it. But that's about it. If you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, I strongly recommend taking my entire Access Expert series. I go through all kinds of stuff, lots of stuff on relationships, and how to properly set up the relationships between your tables. I've got a whole relationship seminar that covers pretty much everything you'd want to know about making relationships between tables. If you want to learn more about action queries, like the update query, I've got a series of 5 courses, Access Expert 13 through 17, that covers action queries. Really, really cool stuff you can do with action queries. And if you want to learn more about Autonumbers, I got a bunch of videos on different Autonumber stuff. Right, here's a big long list of all the stuff that I cover. Here's the good or bad one that I mentioned earlier. All right, this one's important too. Auto numbers are not for you. You shouldn't care what those auto numbers are. Let the system generate them. You'll never have to see them if you don't want to. Okay? But there you go, Stacey, Marko. I hope that helps with your problem. Good luck with your databases. That's going to be your tech help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the tech help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any tech help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for tech help questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.